Welcome to Math Mastermind. Today let's break down CR equations. I mean Cauchy-Riemann equation in Cartesian form clearly and simply. Let us go to the point. CR equation in Cartesian form. It means Cartesian form. What is Cartesian form? It is a partial derivatives form. Okay. Let us go to the statement. The necessary condition for f of z is equal to u of x comma y plus iv of x comma y to be analytic. What is analytic means? That is differentiable. Okay. At any point z is equal to x plus iy is that the four partial derivatives, here we took the partial derivatives as ux, uy, vx and vy. We can also take as rho u by rho x, like that. Okay, here we took ux, uy and vx, vy should exist and satisfies the Cauchy-Riemann equations. That is we given the what is Cauchy-Riemann equations, that is ux is equal to vy and uy is equal to minus vx. This is what we are going to prove. The four partial derivatives should exist in that point and should satisfy the Cauchy-Riemann equations. Let us go to the proof. Since f of z is analytic, that is differentiable at a point z is equal to x plus y iy, then we know that f of z is analytic at any point z is equal to x plus y, that is given in the statement. Now we know this formula. F dash of z is equal to limit delta z tends to 0 f of z plus delta z minus f of z divided by delta z. We took it as first equation. We take it as first equation. Must exist uniquely as delta z will tends to 0 in any manner. It should exist uniquely. That means differently and not, or uniquely, or you can also call as distinct, unequal, which is different points. Okay. Also, f of z is equal to ux comma y plus ivx comma y and f of z plus delta z is equal to u of x plus delta x comma y of delta y, y plus delta y plus iv into x plus delta x and y plus delta y. Okay, where delta x and delta y are small increments. We have given what is mean by increment. An increment is a small positive or negative change in the variable function. Okay, you are also known as what is increment in a salary. If there is a salary of 30k for a person, we can say there is increment for 2 percentage. It will probably increase 2k yearly, like that. They are meaning this small increments in x and z, and delta z is the corresponding increment. Corresponding means x and y opposite that side. X and y is on the one side in the plane and z is to the opposite plane. Okay, it's probably looking like a three-dimensional plane, x y z. Okay, then first one, if this happens, then the first one becomes like the given equation below. F dash of z is equal to limit delta x tends to 0, delta y tends to 0. Then we have just added x plus delta x and y plus delta y. We are just substituting the values which we have taken above. Okay, after substituting, it becomes like this. We are separating the real part and imaginary part. Okay, then we are naming it as second equation. Now we are taking two cases. In the first case, delta z tends to 0 along the real axis. In the second case, delta z tends to 0 along the imaginary axis. We know what is real axis and imaginary axis. Real axis means the x-axis, horizontal x-axis, and imaginary axis means the vertical y-axis, which are plotted on that complex imaginary paths. Okay, now let us come to the part here. In the if delta z tends to 0 along the real axis, then delta y will become 0, because only delta x will be available in the real axis and delta y will be always 0. So we know that we are just simplifying it using the second equation. Then the second equation becomes all the delta y will become 0, and the remaining equation is what we are visualizing. Delta y will become 0. Then after simplifying, we get ux plus ivx, as we take it as third equation. Okay, ux plus ivx. Then the same process for the delta z tends to 0 along the imaginary axis. What will happen in the imaginary? Imaginary means imaginary. What is imaginary axis? The y-axis. In the y-axis, only y-axis will be there, and the x-axis will be 0. The real part will be 0. That is delta x is equal to 0. If we taking the same second equation and simplifying it, we are putting all the delta x is equal to 0. Then we get this visualization of simplification. I and I will get cancelled, and we are taking common as 1 by I uy plus vy. Then what we are doing, we are taking reciprocals. 1 by I, if I taken reciprocal, then it will become minus I by 1. So anything divided by 1 is same one. So we are just putting minus I uy plus vy. Okay, we are just changing the order. We know that the first term should not be minus negative, I mean negative. So we are writing it in order vy minus iux. Okay, we are taking it as fourth equation. Now, since f of z is analytic, f dash of z must be unique. If f of z is differentiable, then f dash of z also a unique solution. So we are equating the both RHS of the equation which we have found newly using the second equation. Okay, now what we do, equating RHS of equation 3 and 4. After equating, we will get the CR equation ux plus I vy. We are just taking the real part one side and imaginary part equals ux is equal to vy and uy is equal to minus vx. If minus iuy comes this side it will become plus, and if ivx goes to another side of equal to sign, it will become minus. Okay, that's all. We have proved that the derivative of the partial derivatives will satisfy CR equation. Okay, if this helped, like and subscribe for more easy math breakdowns. Drop your doubts in the comments. Thank you guys.